we're going through this series, we're calling it Greater. And have you ever seen something and you just had to look again? You know? Where you saw it and you go, no way. You turn back, right? Now, gentlemen, just so you know, clarification. If it's a girl, don't do that. Don't take a second look, because you'll wake up dead. Or it might not even wake you to go to sleep. So, but you know, there's some stuff where we got to do a double take. What? Look at that. And so that's basically what we're going to talk about today, is the stuff in your life, doing a double take, taking another look at stuff again, right? Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we got an allowance. Anybody ever get an allowance? Let me see your hand. You got an allowance. Now, I guess in today's world, it's not allowance. They just buy you whatever you want. But anyway, just enough of that. But we got an allowance. Well, by the way, if you're a husband, you still get an allowance. Don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it, man. You know, because there's times when you didn't have nothing. By the way, here's kind of a man thing, just a little side note here. But every man in the room, always have $2 in your wallet. Always $2. Never get less than 2. That's dignity money. That way you're actually never broke. You got $2, right? No, you don't get rid of that. You save that. That's your dignity, right? But I remember as a kid getting an allowance, and we got a nickel. A nickel. You say, well, that's not very much. No, in that day, that was a pretty good chunk. So I remember getting my nickel, and I was standing in front of the penny candy. Anybody remember penny candy? Surveying the wide array of delicious goods, developing my master plan, strategizing, thinking, giving it a lot of thought. What would bring me the most satisfaction, right? Penny candy. Everybody get your penny candy on the way in? Right? It's funny, somebody said, well, this is crummy candy. It's penny candy. Come on. And so I remember that's and you know, after it was all said and done, I really didn't get much for my nickel, right? As a matter of fact, here's how it played out. It was a long walk to the store. By the time I got home, it's gone. Over. That was it, right? So I really didn't get much, and it actually didn't bring the satisfaction. It didn't really accomplish what I thought it was. So the truth is, I did not understand the value of what I already had in my hand. Stuff just got real. I didn't understand the value of what was already in my hand. Do you understand the value of what is already in your hand? See, here's how it works. Haven't we all wanted something that we thought, man, this has huge value, this is important, only to find out it actually doesn't have any value at all? Anybody ever done that? And on the same token, we treated something as had very little value, only to find out, probably too late, that it was very valuable. And we wish we still had it, right? So we understand. So do you understand the value of what it is you already have in your hand, right? So now, it's times like these we know that we missed out. I mean, we sold out cheap. We made a bad decision. We really blew it. So had I have waited, everybody say waited. That's a great word. Had I have waited and stored up those nickels. Matter of fact, it says in Matthew chapter 12, a good man stores up good in his heart. Had I have stored up those nickels, had I have planned and prepared and had I been patient, just think of what I could have done. I could have had a new bike. That's right. But instead, you know what I got? Stinking penny candy that never even made it home. So do you understand the value of what you have in your hand? Okay, see, now here's the deal. I was driven by an appetite to grasp what I felt like I was missing. Doesn't that describe temptation pretty good? I was driven by an appetite to grasp what I felt like I was missing. See, I traded the long-term plan for a short-sighted restlessness. And I chose that word restlessness on purpose because we get restless in our spirit. So we abandon the long-term plan. See, it's like when Esau gave up his future for a bowl of stew. In the book of Genesis chapter 25. Now, check this out. This actually happened yesterday. True story. I watched a guy, he's looking at his phone, and he's walking. Oh no, this gets good. This gets good. It's not what you think. This gets good. He's walking down the sidewalk. He stepped out into traffic. No. I'm not talking parking lot. I'm talking people like you driving. And you know why that's dangerous? Because you're on your phone. Al, right? He's looking at his phone, steps off into traffic, and there's a honk, honk, you know, the horn of encouragement? You know, birds are flying everywhere. You get what I'm talking about? And this guy, he looks at the car that slams on their brakes, and he's annoyed. Really, dude, right? See, now, here's what I'm saying. He was looking down instead of looking ahead. Of course, I'm not talking about phones today. I'm talking about future. I'm thinking we're not seeing. So how far have you been looking in your life? So can you see past your feelings? Can you see past your ambition? Can you see past your insecurities and your selfishness? You guys get what I'm talking about? How far are we looking? Because that's why sometimes in our lives, I think we really need to do a double take. I think we need to really look a little bit. See, now here's the deal. Now, if you're here today and you've already made up your mind, this is what you're going to do, I'm not talking to you. If you've already made up your mind, you know, I'm going to do this, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to talk to you. So completely disengage, stop listening to me. Get on your phone, troll Facebook, order some stuff on Amazon, hang out, enjoy this, you know. But if you've already made up your mind you're going to do this, I'm not talking to you. But if you want to see what God sees for your life, if that really matters, then you want to pay close attention. Because we know we can miss it. Am I right? We know we can miss it. People say, you know, well, God will give you another chance. Absolutely. That's our grace work. Of course he'll give you another chance. But think of all the life you miss on the way there. So this is a big deal. So I don't know about you, but I think I would listen close if I were you, right? See, sometimes we sell out for cheap imitations, for stuff that is not worth it. Sometimes in life, when it comes to life choices, rather than buying the good stuff, we're settling for penny candy living. I'm going to write that down. That's good stuff, right? Okay, so, and now here's what's weird is sometimes we think it's others that are selling us out. Man, if it wasn't for them, if they hadn't have done this, if they hadn't treated me this way, if this hadn't have happened, man, I know I would be living in God's plan. And so what a ripoff. This wasn't right. So but get this. Listen close. There's not a person on the planet that has the power to crush God's plan for my life. Not a person on the planet has that kind of power. So what does that mean? When the things start happening and we think it's somebody else, maybe God is doing something else. Maybe God is up to so much more. See, we've all had those places where sometimes big stuff, sometimes little stuff. But the point is today, we get to decide what happens and how we respond to those areas. We get to make those choices, right? Right? So now see, so today here's what I'm wondering. Oftentimes things come our direction and we can just cast it off as just a bad day. This is just a hard time. This really sucks. But what if it's a God moment? What if God is trying to do something? What if God is trying to show you something, but because you're not looking up, you miss the God moment? You see what I'm talking about? See, that's why I want us to take a double take. Take a second look at what's going on. So I think we could really discover some God moments. In the book of Genesis, chapter 36 through 50, there's a young man. His name is Joseph. And it's a pretty long story. Genesis, 36 to 50, that's a long story in the Bible. And so as a young man, Joseph has this dream. Everybody's got dreams, right? So Joseph has this dream, big plans, big ideas, big dream, this kind of stuff. And so just like all of us start out, so Joseph shares his dream with his brothers and what he thinks his dream means. Now, just to let you know this, here's what he told his brothers. I had this dream, and all y'all, you're working for me. So ironically, his brothers didn't like the way that he said that. Anybody got younger siblings? Come on, anybody got younger siblings? What would happen if they said that they're the boss? Come on now, you know. You know what that meant at our house? Beat down, baby. He's going to be beat down. Mom said, what happened? I fell down the stairs. I don't know. So he tells, now he has a lot of older brothers. He's got 10 older brothers. And he tells all 10 of them, y'all are under me. I'm going to be boss. Yeah. So watch this. This doesn't play. So they didn't like it. They didn't take it very well. So it's in Genesis chapter 37. They see him coming. Here is their response to their little brother. This is great. This is great. They said, this is Genesis chapter 37, verse 19. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him. Now you can be shocked. Now, there are siblings across this room where you said, I'm going to kill you. Come on, now you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm going to kill you. It's okay, mom won't even miss you. Dad don't like you. Going to kill you, right? So they said, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. What happened to your little brother? He got ate. What a great story. Isn't that great? Okay. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. Now, Joseph had an older brother by the name of Reuben. Reuben, good name. Reuben? By the way, Reuben got 2 pieces of candy on the way in. He cheated. I didn't say that. Love you, Reuben. So Joseph's older brother, Reuben, he talked to him and well, let's not kill him. Go ahead and throw him into the cistern. Because Reuben thought, okay, when everybody's gone, I'm going to come back and get him and try to save my little brother. Well, while Reuben was gone, guess what the older brothers did? Sold him. This is a great family, right? Watch this. Genesis chapter 37, verse 27. Verse 27. Chapter 37, verse 27. Here's what they said. Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites, distant relatives, and not lay our hands on him. This is hilarious. You can't even write this stuff. After all, he is our brother. Wow. All heart. Instead of killing him, we'll sell him, because he is our little brother. Okay? Our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. 20 shekels of silver. That gives each of them less than $20. So they sold their little brother for pocket change. Sold him. How many of you guys know when you got a 20 and you break it, it's gone? Right? You can hold on to clutch that 20 because that's important, because as soon as that becomes $19.99, it's true, right? So really, they got pocket change. So that's all they got out of the whole deal. So sold out by people that should have been looking out. The people that should have been closest to him seemed to hurt him the worst. Does this sound familiar? How could this happen? How do you deal with stuff like this? See, at first glance, this seems like a total disaster. This couldn't get any worse, and life turns upside down. So God must have abandoned me. What happened to the dream? Now, God must be forgotten about this. How could this possibly happen? Even divided up amongst themselves, there's really not much. What about my dream? They ruined it. Could I encourage you, my friends? Go take another look. Take a second look, because you're not seeing what God sees. You think it's over. God says it's just getting started. You guys know what I'm talking about. See, here's the deal. The deal is, just like the guy that was walking across the street, you're just not seeing very far. If you could see farther down the road, you could see that God is up to something huge. But because sometimes we're only seeing right here. Say, Pastor Dave, you don't understand. It's difficult right here. No, yeah, I understand it's difficult right here, but it's glorious down there. Hang in there. That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm talking about? Now get this. If your purpose in life is to get through safely, don't make no waves, don't start nothing, don't say anything, just nothing venture, nothing gain, no big deal. I just want to get through, done, no drama. Because as long as it's smooth sailing, it must be God. Is that like the dumbest thing ever? As long as there's no problems, God's in it. then God's going to have to apologize to a whole bunch of people in the Bible. Right? See, if your purpose in life is to get through safely, all of the stories about God's best stuff will be somebody else's story, not yours. Right? Because, see, what we see sometimes as going wrong, God sees as going forward. Say, oh, this is terrible. God says, no, this is good. Oh, this is really hard. Yeah, I know, but just watch what I'm going to do on the other. See, Joseph, that was sold by his brothers. When he got to Egypt, he was sold to a guy named Potiphar. Potiphar's wife was not a good wife. Potiphar's wife was a well, just be glad she's not your wife. I'll just put it that way. So Potiphar's wife puts some moves on young Joseph. No, I mean, she just says it just straight out. Let's do this. This young guy. So he tries to pull away from her, and as he pulls away from her, of course, the way that they're dressed, well, back then, people say, well, I don't believe in dresses. Back then, everybody wore a dress, even the guys. And so he's got this cloak on, so he goes to pull away, and his clothes come off. Now, it doesn't take a smart person to realize that if you're standing there next to the boss's wife, she's screaming, you're naked, it's not good. This is a bad look. So she starts screaming rape while this young boy is standing there naked. So he gets thrown in prison for something he didn't do. While in prison, he makes a couple friends. He interprets their dreams, things are going good. So when they get out, they go, we'll remember you. How many of you guys know that story, right? Yeah, hey man, when you get out, well, guess what? They forgot him. And you know that story too. So he's sitting in prison all by himself, so things could not get worse. God must be completely forgotten. But see, my friends, here's the deal. Joseph was delivered from the prison and put into the palace, not as a move for justice, not as a way to get back at his brothers, but God put him there because God had a plan. So God brought him from the horrible place and put him into the best place because Joseph was God's answer to a desperate world. Famine had struck the land. His family was going to die. And just at the right time, Joseph was taken from the prison, put into the palace, and Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream that changed their economy. And because of that, Joseph was literally able to save his family from starvation. So why is that a big deal? If Joseph hadn't gone through what he went through, there would be no Jesus for us to pray to. If there was no Jesus for us to pray to, there would be no hope for us to hold on to. You see, it matters a lot. So because Joseph went through that, that's why we're here today. See, destiny sometimes rides on the shoulders of tragedy and frustration. That's how he brings victory. See, Joseph all in one day. Everybody say one day. In one day, he went from the prison to the palace. He woke up and had breakfast in the prison, whatever that was, and he finished the night. He laid his head down in the palace all in the same day. You say, well, man, things are moving pretty slow. I don't know if God is going to show up. God took one day, just one day. You say, what can God do in a day? God can take you from the prison and put you into the palace, my friend, but you have to walk through what you've got to walk through. See, God hasn't forgotten you. He's been preparing you. Don't despise your place. Embrace it. Embrace the place God has you. Embrace the place God has you. That is the most important thing I'm saying to you today. Wherever you're at, whatever's going on, embrace that place. So say, okay, Pastor Dave, I'll do it, but I don't like it. You're not paying attention. Embracing the place is not, fine. Matter of fact, you can be a bad mood. Go to your room. I've always wanted to say that. Embrace the place God has you. Love where you are so God can take you to where you're supposed to be. If you don't love where you are, my friend, you will never get there. You got to learn to look down the road a little bit farther. Don't despise your place. Matter of fact, just a little story. Several years ago, I was at a pastor's breakfast up in the Fresno area, and there was a pastor from Kerman, Pastor Robert Lopez. We're sitting at this breakfast, and he goes, Pastor Dave, could you pray for my son? I said, of course I'll pray for your son. He goes, no, really, I really need you to pray for my son. He actually lives in Porterville. I just need you to pray for my son. So I said, of course I'll pray for your son. So I began to pray for Pastor Robert Lopez's son. And a couple years later, I'm sitting in my living room in the evening, and I hear a loud crash. You know when you're in your living room at night and there's a loud crash, it's not good? So I run outside, and across the street, I see where a guy has driven his pickup into somebody's living room. Yeah, for real. He's parked in front of their TV. Ultimate drive-in. He's literally crashed through the wall. And when I get over there, it's funny because the family's still sitting under the couch going. Because the pickup's right there. So I go running over there, and there's a guy trying to get out of the pickup, and he's all banged up. He's hurt. He's kind of stumbling around. I said, hey, you okay? You okay? Yeah, I got to get out of here. Got to get. Well, in a few seconds, I realized why he crashed into the house. The cops were chasing him. And because he crashed through the house, guess what? They caught him. Cuffed him up, hauled him off. End of story, right? Another couple of years, a guy from New Life is talking to his buddy. They're talking about stuff. You know how we have these conversations. And he tells his buddy, hey, you ought to come to church with me. I don't know. No, really, you ought to come to church with me. So he talks him into going to church with him. Guess what church? Just wild guess. Wow. New Life. Some of you guys are like, you might not be smart enough to be here. I don't know. So he shows up to New Life. That day, he walks into the room, and he looks up at the stage, and he sees me, and he literally told me this. He goes, you got to be kidding me. This is the guy that crashed his truck through the house. This is Pastor Robert Lopez's son. Pastor Robert Lopez's son walked down here and gave his heart to Jesus because a few years before we started praying. You guys get what I'm talking about? Don't despise where you are. Embrace that. Learn, my friend, learn to look farther down the road, and maybe you can see that God is up to something huge. Look a little bit further. You see, so does it look bad? I'm telling you, go take another look. Take a double take because God is doing something else. There's another story in Scripture. There's a prophet by the name of Elijah. They're going through a horrible drought. God does his best stuff in dry seasons. Anybody going through a dry season? God does his best stuff in dry seasons. People say, Pastor Dave, man, my life is terrible. That's awesome. You don't even know how hard it is. Hey. Because at the conclusion of a dry season, at the conclusion of difficult days, God shows up and does miraculous things. So here's Elijah. They're at the close of a dry season. Everybody is struggling. But see, Elijah believes that God is going to send rain. So Elijah puts his head between his knees and begins to pray. He sends his servant out. He goes, I want you to go look at the horizon and come back and tell me what you see. He goes out and looks, and he comes back, boss, I don't see nothing. He said, then go look again. He goes out and he looks again. He said, what do you see? I don't see nothing. Go back out there again. Come back, tell me what you see. He comes back, I don't see nothing. Fourth time, go back out there. He's probably thinking, nothing there. He goes back, I don't see anything. And the seventh time, so I think Elijah looked at this guy and said, look, you're not seeing out there what I'm seeing in here. You're not looking through the lens of God. You're not looking through the lens of faith, because it says in 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 44, that the seventh time he went out and he came back and he goes, you know, the strangest thing, all of a sudden there's a cloud about the size of a man's hand in the sky. It doesn't look like much. And Elijah said this, put your rain boots on, boy. It's getting ready to rain. God is getting ready to do something. All it takes is a little bit of faith. Look a little bit further down the road and you can see what God is up to. I'm getting a little wound up. Give me a second to catch my breath. See, so whatever's going on in your life, here's what I'm saying. Go take another look. What if I still don't see anything? Go back again and again and again. My friend, God is faithful. See, if you're not seeing what God sees, it's because you're not looking through God's eyes. You're looking at your phone. Look up. Take another look, and you can see what God is up to. See, if what you see in front of you is drying up your soul, I'm going to challenge you to look a little further, okay? You're just not seeing far enough down the road. Say, well, how far do I have to look? I don't know. But what I know is if I embrace the place where he has me, I've been in difficult spots, I understand. I've had to do stuff I don't like, a lot. But I've learned to embrace the place where God has me. I've learned to love it because I'm where God wants me to be. You know what I'm talking about? So take another look. Revisit the place of your victory, and you'll have some clarity. Go back to where things were going pretty good, where God showed up in a powerful way. Go back and look at that again. You'll find out, you know, because God worked that way there, he might just work the same way here. Revisit your place of victory, and you'll find that you can see some clarity. Take a walk through the dark valley and start looking for the light. Examine once again the place that you thought was empty and wasted. And you see the hand of God throughout. Is there a cloud out there? Say, well, you know, it doesn't look like much. It might not look like much to you, but it looks like a downpour to God. It looks like an outpouring to God. So here's what I'm saying. I want you to get this. Start looking for little glimmers of hope. So I'm waiting for God to speak to me. Okay, just one word. Well, how does that happen? I'm going to embrace the place that God has me. We're going to make a bumper sticker that says, embrace the place. Turn to somebody, tell them, embrace the place. So this place sucks. Well, you're probably going to have to change that attitude. Embrace the place where God has you, so he can take you where you're supposed to be. Take another look back through the pages of your story, and you'll find God's fingerprints on all kinds of stuff. You'll find God's footprints along the way. You'll see the places in your life where he touched your life in significant ways. You'll see the places in your life where he picked you up and he carried you all the way out. My friend, if God brought you this far, God will see you through. Embrace the place where God has you. You're going to see people you didn't notice. You're going to see things you didn't see. You're going to see times that you missed. You're going to see words that you didn't hear. Embrace the place where God has you. See, when we overreact, fragile stuff gets broken. Any overreactors in the house? Don't make me start calling you out. Everybody, something happens, you're like, come on. Oh, yeah, thank you, Earl. Thank you. He said, not in front of my wife. She don't know. Yeah, that's right. He's come to heal those broken places. Because when the fragile things in our life get broken, we have a tendency to hide in the shadows. So let God call you out of the shadows. Touch you with his healing hand. Heal those broken places. Get you back on your feet so you can embrace the place where he has you. Is this helping? Is this helping? So let's finish here. Are you sure what you're giving up is worth what you think you want? Are you sure? With what you can't afford to lose, is what you're getting worth it? I'm just curious. How many of you already ate your candy? I was counting on that. Reuben. I'm just curious. So Reuben, you ate 2? Just 2? Did you eat Karina's also? Okay, he took a long time to answer. Are you still hungry, Reuben? Okay, so is what you're giving up, is it worth what you think you're getting? And according to Reuben, the answer is no. Right, Reuben? Wasn't worth your nickel. Make sure what you're getting is worth your nickel. The enemy of your soul will set traps for you. He'll promise you stuff. Get you caught up looking at your phone. Look a little further down the road. And you'll find that God has this incredible plan that's unfolding right in front of you. Could I get you to bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment, please? You're sitting in this room today. And you're looking at life thinking, you know what? I feel like it's not working. I feel like it's going the wrong direction. I feel like maybe God's not even paying attention. I'm in a spot where I just really need to know that God knows where I'm at, and I just feel like I'm alone in this right now. But if that's describing you right now, with every head bowed, everybody's eye closed, just a private moment, if that describes you, I want you to pop your hand up real quick and right back down. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hands all over the room. All over the room. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to step out in this a little bit more. There's some family issues that are breaking your heart, eating away at your soul. And you've been praying about it, and it doesn't really feel like God is responding at all. And the fact that I just brought that up tells you, yes, he does know. If that describes you, show me your hand real fast. Up and right back down. Thank you. Hands all over the room. Lots of people, lots of people. Last question. Things are going really, really difficult right now. You're facing some stuff where you need answers. You're in a Joseph kind of place where it feels like everything is going wrong. And you really need God to show up. If that's you, show me your hand. Thank you. Thank you. Could you stand to your feet, please? I'm going to make some people feel good. just this week, in the last week, my daughter had an angiogram because there's heart issues. Terrifying. She's young. Dealt with some painful stuff in a ministry area where it just kind of rocked my world. On the way to man camp, I got ran off the road when I was taking my trailer up there. A little bit of damage to my trailer, but they totaled it. Yay. My business account got hacked this week. And my personal account got hacked this week. Because somebody stole checks from the post office. All this week. Is that a lot? You know what I'm saying right now? Bring it on. Who's next? Come on, who's next? Well, how could you do that? I'm looking a little bit farther. I know that God is up to something huge. I know that God is moving in my life. I know that God has this great plan. I'm not going to judge the spot where I am like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'm going to embrace the place where God has me so God can take my life where He wants it to be. Anybody on board with what I'm talking about? Embrace the place. Turn to somebody, tell them, embrace the place. Now turn back to them and tell them, you first. Oh, that felt good, didn't it? What we want to do, and we're doing this every week, but we want to make sure that people's hearts are right with Jesus. Because you know, just because you go to church doesn't mean that everything is okay. So we want to start there. Is that okay? A lot of people say, well, I don't like doing that every week. Well, we're not doing it for you anyway. The place for the cranky people, there's about 3 rows back there where the cranky people sit. It's funny, there's people moving now. But we just want everybody to have a good start. Okay? So if you would, I'd like you to pray this prayer with me, okay? You ready? Say, God, thank you for giving your Son. He took all my stuff, all my mistakes, all my failures, all my bad decisions, everything that's happened to me, and everything that I've done. He's taken it all away and forgiven me. This is my fresh start. I surrender my life to you from this day forward. In Jesus' name. Everybody said amen. Wow. Now listen. This is important for us. We have prayer partners up there. They're here to pray with you. Because 2 are better than 1, right? Anybody ever been in a good fight? No, not a fight with your spouse. I'm talking like, let's hook it up. You know how to win a fight? Gang up on them. It's a flawless plan. So when we pray, we're going to gang up on the devil. You guys like that idea? We're going to gang up on him. Guaranteed win, right? So our prayer partners are here to pray with you. That's why they're here, right? So we want to encourage you that if you have stuff, you want that encouragement, this is the spot. All right? Pastor Louis, come on, finish it up, buddy. Love you guys.